Hey, what's up, everybody? It's the AEW Dynamite review show here on the Ringside Report Network. It is Wednesday, January 12th, Dynamite in Raleigh, North Carolina. Tonight, Britt Baker joins up with Adam Cole. CM Punk gets a win over Wardlow, and Brody King makes his AEW debut. Let's do it. Yes, indeed. This is where it's at. I got Johnny North, got the microphone. How you doing, Johnny?
I'm good. Got my third shot today. Arm's a little sore, but besides that, feeling good.
Already?
Yeah.
Didn't
You
it
can get
just
it done as well.
Didn't it just open up to people in our age category? Because we are in the same age category for the vaccines, right? You're not. I mean, you're maybe what, a year or two older than me, John. We're in the same age category. So didn't it just open up today for us? How did you do that already?
Well, I got the email that you could do it like last night. You could set up your appointment. So I set it up for today
Wow.
and got it done. I know other people too. I told them as well. Also in the same age group. They got it done as well today. Some of them just walk in and get it done.
Wow. You are on the ball. Third
That's
dosed.
it.
3-dose Johnny. Call you old 3D over there. Look at you.
Well, you'll get there
Dudley
one day.
boy Johnny. Yeah, I'll get there. I think my appointment's next Friday. So not this Friday,
There
but
you go.
I got to wait like a week and a half. I feel delayed, though. You're beating me here, John. You're beating me to the shot.
There's no race for this.
What did Max Caster say tonight? The Acclaimed leave opponents all motionless. They ain't got a shot like Novak Djokovic. Tremendous. That guy, Max
Good
Caster, he's my favorite guy. When I saw the lineup for Dynamite tonight, I saw what they were offering us, and I saw that the Acclaimed were going to wrestle the Bear Boys. I said, oh, yeah, we get to see a Max Caster promo. I was hyped. Of everything that they presented to us tonight, I was more excited about that Max Caster promo than the main event, which was Sammy Guevara defending his interim TNT title against Daniel Garcia, which we will get to. John, overall impressions of the show tonight?
Ups and downs. Felt like a usual Dynamite where I thought maybe the beginning was probably the stronger portion, and then like the second hour not so great.
Yeah. Yeah, this was not, I don't know.
I saw some people said it was a good show. I was like, I mean, at moments, and some moments not so much.
Yeah. I don't know. I agree with you there. I think that the show started off pretty hot, but by the end, I was just waiting for it to finish. You know, I was like, all right, let's keep moving. Let's start at the beginning, though. Good opening segment. Adam Cole with Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, the Undisputed Men. Cole says he's not been pinned or submitted in AEW, and he is undefeated in singles competition. He says it is a new era in AEW. Maybe that's what they'll call themselves. They can't call themselves the Undisputed Era. Maybe they call themselves the New Era. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it's the new Super Elite, isn't it?
Or, yeah, I don't know what they're calling themselves. Do they have a name with the Bucks and everything?
I don't know. AJ should name them.
No, AJ doesn't have good names. Shout out to Silent by Deadly. Shout out to AJ. Shout out to Angelo Contagonis checking us out live right now. Don't forget to like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Become a member of the team. Go to join.ringsidereport.net. Support the channel. Hit us up on Super Chat. Need that support to continue bringing you top-level pro wrestling content. And MMA content with AJ tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Actually, 8:30 tomorrow night. Special start time of 8:30 because AJ has to be somewhere, so he's late. I don't know. AJ asked for 8:30. I didn't really read his whole explanation. I think he's going to be at work in some sort of undisclosed location, and he's going to do the show from there, so I don't know. So we're pushing the show to 8:30
Sounds exciting.
because of AJ. It's AJ's fault. Show's at 8:30 tomorrow. If you don't like it, blame AJ. All right? What up, Doug?
I like he has the power to change the time of the show. It's interesting.
You have the power, too, if you request it. I mean...
Oh, if we could be earlier, it'd be better, but, like, Dynamite's on, unfortunately.
Yeah, how are we going to be on earlier, John? It's a post-Dynamite show. It's hard to do. But the Ringside show, I mean, if AJ wanted to move it to 9 tomorrow, he could. It's fine. AJ has say within reason. All right. So Cole talks about the new era in AEW. The Young Bucks and Brandon Cutler come out. Matt Jackson says he kicked COVID's ass in 2 days, which, is that safe? Like, shouldn't he? Isn't it 5 days you got to stay away from people? But whatever. And he says, we didn't get the invite to this whole, party in the ring. And Kyle O'Reilly says, nobody invited you guys anyways. So there's still kind of animosity between Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and the Young Bucks. Matt Jackson says his New Year's resolution was to regain the AEW Tag Team Championship. Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly says that's their resolution, too, to win the AEW Tag Team titles, and they're willing to go through any tag team to do it. And then Adam Cole jumps in and he says, hey, this is great. This is friendly competition. That's what makes us the greatest faction in AEW history. And the Bucks and Fish and O'Reilly are kind of like grumble, I don't know. But Cole, he's trying to play the peacemaker and get in between these guys and put them all together to be one big happy family. Cole then starts to talk about the best friends and how terrible they are. And then, of course, they all jump out. Orange Cassidy, Trent, Chucky, Wheeler, Yuta, and even Chris Statlander, who doesn't come into the ring right away. And it was kind of weird because you see her coming down to the ring, but then she doesn't come in the ring, and you're like, why isn't she in the ring? It will become apparent in a few moments. Orange Cassidy attacks Cole right away. Everybody starts brawling around the ring, leaving Cole and Orange by themselves in the ring. Orange dumps Brandon over the top onto a pile of guys. And then Adam Cole takes the opportunity to low blow Orange Cassidy, which drops Cassidy and prompts Chris Statlander to hit the ring and face off with Adam Cole. Cole's real-life girlfriend, fiance, wife, I'm not really sure, Britt Baker hits the ring and attacks Statlander, hits her with a curb stomp, and grabs Orange Cassidy, and Adam Cole hits Orange Cassidy, and then everybody's standing around kind of celebrating, but not really. Cole's the only one really celebrating. The Young Bucks go to do their kiss thing on Adam Cole where they each kiss his cheek, and then Britt Baker steps in and is like, hey, let me kiss him, and then she kisses him on the lips so that we understand, they're in a relationship. That's why Britt Baker is here, which I thought was necessary. Like, I thought it was a nice touch that Britt kissed Cole, because if you don't know that they're together, you're like, why is Britt Baker here? Right? Like, if you don't know that Adam Cole and Britt Baker are a real-life couple, which they haven't really talked about that much in AEW, like they tiptoe around it, but they haven't really said it outright, and if you know, you know, and I think most AEW fans know because AEW is kind of like a small circle, which we'll talk about the attendance a little later on. Attendance tonight was terrible for the show, okay? Like, you can't dance around the numbers.
Or the darkness.
Yeah, or the darkness. I mean, you saw those empty seats tonight. Terrible. I don't know what's going on, but I'll give you some numbers here in a second. But Britt Baker kissing Adam Cole I thought was a nice touch because you need to know why Britt's there, because she's off doing her own thing. She's a she's TBS, AEW World Champion, Women's Champion, whatever. Getting to be so many titles now in AEW, I'm starting to lose track. We all know Britt Baker isn't the real Women's Champion. It's Jade Cargill, but that's another story. But we needed to know why Britt and Cole were together. So Britt kissing Cole I thought was a nice little touch there. And then we set up a tag team match. Next week, playa, a mixed tag match. It'll be Adam Cole and Britt Baker teaming up for the first time ever in AEW to take on Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander, who are maybe a couple too in real life, but I don't know. They seem like they might be, but I can't tell. I don't know for sure. And I don't really care.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't really care. But it's like two couples at least on screen, right? Facing each other. I guess that's the match.
Yeah. That is
That's
the
fine.
match.
We don't usually get to see this. We don't usually get to see these kind of matches, so it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. Britt now being with this group. Is this good for Britt?
She doesn't really need it, but it helps their group, I guess. It adds them to be a little bit different, adds another dimension to their group.
Yeah. I think it helps their group more than it helps Britt. Britt was doing fine doing her own thing with Rebel and Jamie Hayter and her own little faction, and she brings Tony Schiavone in. Now she mixes in with Brandon Cutler and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and all these people, and now she's Adam Cole's girlfriend. She's not Britt Baker, DMD, world champion. She's Adam Cole's girlfriend. You know, I think it lowers her worth a little bit because Adam Cole, nobody's talking about him as a four pillar of AEW. You know, like Britt is up here. Adam Cole is kind of here. He's not main event level. Britt is main event, top of the women's division. She drops down into this mid-card scene feuding with, like, Orange Cassidy. This is demeaning for Britt Baker. This is less than what she has been doing. Don't you think?
Well, I doubt she sees it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun for
sure,
her.
like,
sure.
Yeah, I'm sure she likes it a lot, actually. Team up with your boyfriend. What's wrong with that? And Adam Cole, I think, is a star in the making for AEW. Like, he was a star in NXT. He was Mr. NXT for a long period of time. So it only makes sense that AEW is going to push him to be a top star. It hasn't happened yet, but he's on his way, and this is just going to help him.
Top star, probably. Feud with Hangman Page, probably. I mean, look at what they're throwing at Hangman now post-Bryan, right? Lance Archer. I love Lance Archer. I think he's a top-level professional wrestler, but nobody in their right mind believes he's going to beat Hangman and be the one to be the next AEW World Champion. I'm a huge Archer fan. He's believable. He's huge. He's tremendous. But, come on. This is just, get Hangman over as a champion before he hopefully loses it to Bryan at the next pay-per-view. Right?
Well, who's to say it's the next one would be the one after that? Whenever Bryan gets his title opportunity again.
Yeah.
But Archer being a challenge, I think it's a good threat. It's not exactly someone who's going to beat him, but it's a unique match, and I like what he did there. The finish on the chair, that looked kind of dangerous. So I'm interested to see how the match will go.
I think the match will be tremendous. Like, that's the thing. I think the match will be great. I think Archer would be a great world champion. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in AEW. I was a big fan of his New Japan stuff. He had a match with Will Ospreay a few years ago that was amazing. Like, this guy is a killer pro wrestler. He is top-level A1 pro wrestler, brings the violence, can take it. You saw him, how he got injured there and why he's been gone for so long. Like, he goes above and beyond in the ring. Lance Archer is top-notch. I just don't believe him as a world championship contender, He's a challenger. He's a legit threat for Hangman, but he's not a guy that's going to be the AEW world champion, and I think everybody that's watching knows it because that's not how Lance Archer has been booked.
Well, yeah, you're right, because he hasn't been around, though, too. I mean, he's been hurt, so it's kind of hard just to be like, you go from nothing to world champion contender. It's kind of tough, but like Hangman said, the records kind of go back to zero again, so everyone's kind of on the same level, so it doesn't really matter right now who faces him, right?
I suppose. Is that the case? The records go back to zero? Nothing? They reset at the beginning of the year, the AEW rankings or whatever?
Yeah, they do, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think that's why the Acclaimed are like number one team right now, because they're on Dark every week, right? So they're automatically like right up top because they've wrestled the most, I think, probably.
All right. I don't know. Have they? I don't watch Dark. I have no idea.
You don't check the records, I guess.
No,
okay.
I don't check the records. Renji 2211 22 Renji on Twitch watching us says, agreed. I think Archer and Hangman will be great, but I don't see him winning. That's it. I think it'll be great, but
right.
But I just don't see him winning the match, and that's kind of, You just don't see him as believable. Hangman Page cut that in-ring promo. He says he bled and sweat last week with the best in the world, and he needs a new challenger now. And then Dan Lambert showed up, which I was not expecting. Because, I mean, Archer may not be a believable challenger, but Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky are not even interesting challengers. Like, at least Archer's going to bring a good match. Like, Page and Sky, those guys against Hangman, like, forget about it. They're not TNT championship level contenders. Like, they're not there. So, I didn't want to see that at all. And then Lambert showing up and talking about all the cowboys of the past in pro wrestling, like Bill Watts and Dory Funk. And Hangman says, look, if Scorpio or Ethan want a title shot, they can come ask for one, but I don't want to hear from a walking Facebook profile, which I thought was a fantastic line from Hangman. Like, damn. He really defined Dan Lambert in 3 words perfectly. Walking Facebook profile. Wow. It's a good thing you're not on Facebook, John. It's a cesspool. I mean,
Twitter isn't?
Twitter is a cesspool as well. Twitter's a cesspool. Facebook is the internet is a cesspool. We try to make this place like a nice place, you know, for us and our friends. But sometimes this place is a cesspool, too. Who knows? Anyways, Lambert talking about all the great matches that Hangman has had with Bryan Danielson and how he's a great wrestler and one of the best matches he's seen in the past 40 years, and he's earned being a champion, not like Cody Rhodes, who does backroom deals to get his shot. Lambert says, you know, Hangman, you've earned everything except the cowboy gimmick. Lambert is taking exception with Hangman being a cowboy. He's like, oh, you're disrespecting Dick Murdoch and the Blackjacks, and you're full of cowboy shit. And then Hangman's like, look, I grew up on a farm with 100 cows on it, 100 head of cattle. He didn't even say cows because he knows the real farm terms. John, you're more of a country boy. I'm more of a city man myself. I don't know about these cowboy terms. John, you're not a cowboy, but I understand you understand country things. Anyhow, Hangman says he grew up on a farm with 100 head of cattle and turned down a 6-figure contract to start a new company. Tell me that's not cowboy shit. And the crowd went nuts for Hangman. And yeah, I mean, that seems like a cowboy, right? John? Is Hangman a real cowboy?
Sounds like a farmer to me, but I mean, if he thinks he's a cowboy, sure, why not?
But
I mean, yeah, he turned down a lot of money. I don't know if that makes you a cowboy or just someone who doesn't like money that much, but okay.
But if you're a kid as a boy who grows up around a lot of cows, wouldn't that make you a cowboy? But I guess cowboys like ride horses and do rodeo stuff? Like bull riding and horse things? I am not a cowboy, clearly.
There's just the way, too, they live as well. Like, just because you live around cows, there's got to be more to it than just that. But, I mean, fine. Again, if you're a farmer, like, you know, I have nothing against farmers or anything, but, again, not a cowboy. A lot of farmers will tell you they're not cowboys.
So cowboy has to live a certain way. You live by the cowboy code. You carry a 6-shooter and drink whiskey. I mean, what are you talking about exactly? Is there a way to live as a like you have to live like you are in Red Dead Redemption 24/7? Is that the deal?
I think it's a little bit more civilized than that.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't think like bears will jump at you and eat you like right away off a house or something. But
that's only if you're a terrible cowboy. You shoot them bears.
Right.
Shoot them bears dead.
That's it. Make sure you have your shotgun ready at all times.
Anyways, I just thought it was a weird thing for Dan Lambert to take exception with. He's like, you're a great wrestler, you're a great champion, you deserve to be champion, you've earned it, but you're not a real cowboy. And I'm like, are you Dan Lambert? Weird. Why is this his beef with Hangman? You're disrespecting Dick Murdoch by saying you're a cowboy. Who knows if Dick Murdoch was a real cowboy? You know what? Last I checked, they were all pro wrestlers. They spent most of their time not on horses, but in wrestling rings. None of them were cowboys. They were all wrestlers. Dory Funk, Dick Murdoch, the Blackjacks, even Cowboy Bill Watts. You know, Cowboy Bill Watts wasn't a real cowboy. He was a wrestling promoter. and a pro wrestler and a tough SOB and everything. I mean, he may have rode horses and did rodeo things. I don't know about that, but most of his time he was doing wrestling things, right? So what the hell are we talking about? Cowboy is, as in American hero, Hans Gruber definition. I don't know who Hans Gruber is, Doug. I don't know what you're talking about. My question is, whatever happened to Gary Cooper? The strong, silent type. That's what Tony Soprano was always asking. Whatever happened to Gary Cooper? He died, Gary Cooper.
Well, I think the main thing to take off this is the fact that, it is just a gimmick for Hangman, and that's what it is. Like, regardless if Dan Lambert wants to base them for the fact that it's just a gimmick, like most of the wrestlers are gimmicks. So I don't get why he's like mad at him when everyone else is just gimmicks. Like the whole Scorpio Sky stuff and Ethan Page as well. Like a lot of their stuff is just gimmick, but he's okay with that.
Yeah. Ethan Page is a black belt in karate he got when he was 10 years old, and he's acting like he's an MMA fighter like Junior Dos Santos. Like, come on, what are you talking about? Your own guy is a gimmick. Let's get it together. Lance Archer then shows up, and he goes after Dan Lambert because apparently last time we saw Lance Archer, he was attacking Dan Lambert, but I don't remember that at all. Do you?
Vaguely remember it.
They're like, oh yeah, Lance Archer hates Dan Lambert. And I'm like, he does? And then he hit Hangman.
There was a time he went after him.
Okay.
I remember that.
He hit Hangman with a clothesline right after that. I guess the Dan Lambert thing was a fake out, and then he hit Hangman with a chair, then did his thing, his whatever, flip, slam, reverse razor's edge thing on the chair. What is that move, John?
Isn't it Everyone Dies?
Everybody dies? I don't know. Isn't it a phantasm? Is that the phantasm?
Well, that's what the Green Phantom calls it, yes.
Right.
But I don't imagine Archer calls it that, though.
No. I'll call it a phantasm. Nice move there from Archer on Hangman and puts him through that chair. Nice stuff. I always think of Hangman as Hangman because I first saw him in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and that's what they called him there. Hangman, which is better for some
I like
reason.
his Smokey Bear t-shirt. That was nice.
Was that a Smokey the Bear shirt he was wearing? Only you can prevent forest fires, I think. Is that the deal? Is that what it said on his shirt?
Pretty sure.
That's weird. Why?
Well, it's important. You don't want to have forest fires.
Forest fires are bad. I agree. People in the chat are talking about Die Hard and Christmas movies. I don't know what is going on. This is what happens when AJ's
Christmas
in the chat.
is over, guys.
Christmas is long over,
down.
brother. Long over. Okay, Wardlow and CM Punk was our opening match. I liked it a lot. This was my match of the night.
Wow, me too.
I like when we agree. I don't want to argue, John. Let's not argue. We agree. Match of the night. Perfect. Show's over. Good night, everyone.
Well, we got to get to the bad stuff next.
Oh, okay. So the match was really good. Wardlow just beat the hell out of CM Punk. Just beat him up all match. Hit him with five. I mean, pretty much. Punk got very little offense in, right? It was mostly all Wardlow.
Yeah, mostly. I'd say, 70-30, yeah.
Yeah. And then Wardlow started hitting power bombs, and it was all Wardlow, right? Like, once the power bomb started, it was over. And when he set him up for that power bomb, the first power bomb, it's like, yes! Get him, Wardlow. Finish him. Like, he had him dead to rights. It's like, it's over. And then Wardlow sets him up, and you're like, damn, it's power bomb time. And at that moment, I realized this match has been really well put together. Because at this point, it was like, wow, you wanted that power bomb. Like you were like ready for it. And then he hit the power bomb and another and another and another and another. He hit 5 power bombs on CM Punk, then put his foot on Punk's broken body to pin him and finish him off. But MJF stops Wardlow, gets on the apron, and says, no, Wardlow, more, I want more. Beat him up some more. Wardlow, annoyed, but eventually decides, okay, I'll hit him with another powerbomb, and then another powerbomb. And then Punk starts rolling out of the ring after 7 powerbombs, and then MJF tells Wardlow, okay, now powerbomb him through the timekeeper's table, which is AEW's answer to the Spanish announce table, by the way. It's ringside and everybody goes through it, right? Everybody goes through this table. Once a show, somebody's going through this a timekeeper's table. I never see a timekeeper. I just see the table with the cloth on it. People going through it every week. Wardlow puts powerbomb number 8 through the timekeeper's table. CM Punk in a crumpled heap. Makes the 10 count to not get counted out. MJF gets back on the apron. Keeps talking, telling Wardlow, finish him, destroy him. Punk uses the momentary distraction. Inside cradle, small package, 1, 2, 3. Pins Wardlow, escapes with a victory. Perfect. Perfect story told. It keeps your attention every step of the way. Wardlow looks even more of a monster, even though he loses, because he had Punk beat. If it's not for MJF, Wardlow runs right through CM Punk and beats him easily, which puts Wardlow on a brand new level because he just obliterated one of the top guys in the company. Yes, he loses. Yes, CM Punk needed to beat Wardlow because if he loses to Wardlow on the way to MJF, it loses a whole lot of momentum. Punk needed to win this, but Wardlow in his current run of just squashing people and hitting 5 powerbombs and going home, he needed to remain strong, and he did. Wardlow looks like $1 million, looks even better than he has ever before. This was a career-making match for Wardlow, and AEW can really make something out of this guy off of this. And CM Punk, he does what he needs to do. He takes a vicious beating, but in the end, you didn't see Punk pinned. You didn't see Punk beat. Punk gets the 1, 2, 3, and he can continue and go on to face MJF at some point. But, of course, MJF cut a promo later in the show on the stage and says Punk got a fluke victory over an oaf tonight, calling Wardlow, his own buddy, an oaf. And he says next week he's going to make sure Punk takes his first loss in AEW, and it's going to be the match we're all waiting for, CM Punk versus Shawn Spears. So that'll be next week, and MJF yelling at Wardlow after the match. Shawn Spears had to get between them, so it continues the MJF-Wardlow heat, and Wardlow eventually is going to turn on everybody. He walked away in a huff. Perfect. This is perfect. Punk did a great job. Punk's selling is so good. He doesn't seem like he's completely unconscious and then he just pops back up. It's layered. It makes sense. It's reasonable. He looks hurt, but he's, writhing around. It's perfect. You believe it every step of the way. He's a really good storyteller in that ring. One of the best to ever do it. Great match with Wardlow tonight. Didn't have to do much. Not complicated, but perfect. Match of the night.
Well, I agree with the match of the night. I find what really worked was the fact that you had the power bombs week after week, and you built that. So then when it came down to this, it meant something. This is where the main event kind of lacked a bit, where you had some good moves and all that, but because none of those guys were really built or anything, it didn't really mean much. And it was hard to really get involved in any of the false finishes because, Daniel Garcia never really did anything. He never got a big win. And Sammy, again, he hits a bunch of moves and all that. It's great, but, it's just move after move, and that's it. Nothing's been really established or built. Where this, they established it week after week. Powerbomb, powerbomb, powerbomb. Always works. And you established the fact, too, Punk, undefeated, never lost. So to have these two things collide like this, to me, this was the true main event of the show.
Yeah. I mean, it's CM Punk on the show. He's the biggest star on the show. There's nobody bigger than Punk. Bryan Danielson and Jade Cargill weren't on this show, so CM Punk, by default, is the biggest star in the show. No Kenny, no Moxley, no Danielson. What do you got? You got the Punker. And he's a great top star. I mean, Sting was on the show, too. You know, he's a pretty big star, but CM Punk.
Well, for wrestling.
Yeah.
Who wrestled tonight.
Yeah. CM Punk. Tremendous. And he's still great. You know, he still has great matches. And Wardlow looks so good, too. Punk made Wardlow look like $1 million. And you're right. They established Wardlow very well with those power bombs. And once you saw Wardlow pull him in for the first one, it was like, oh, shit. Here it comes.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
Fantastic. I like Wardlow. I'm liking Wardlow more and more. He's huge. His power bombs are awesome. He did a really good job tonight. And he, you know, his acting is undervalued, I think. You got to pay attention to, like, the facial expressions and him, like, getting annoyed with MJF. He sold that very well. You know, it didn't seem over the top.
Yeah.
It didn't seem, like, phony. It was just like, this guy, you know? It was really good.
Mm-hmm.
It was really good. He told the story very well with his facial expressions, too. Like, he did a really good job. I don't know how long he's been wrestling, but pretty impressive for this guy.
Well, arguably, this is his best match he's ever had.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you can just get better from here. There's still some things, like I felt he seemed a bit awkward on a couple moments, but again, this is his biggest match. I'm sure there's a bit of nerves involved, but like nothing that was really like, well, this ruined the match. So, like, I think it's just more positive than anything where you can take from this. And more than likely, I think they said in 2 weeks they're going to be in Cleveland. He's from Cleveland. More than likely, that's when they're going to pull the face turn, I think.
Is that where he's from? I didn't know he was from Cleveland. They will be in Cleveland, in 2 weeks. Next week, they're in D.C. for Dynamite and Rampage, and then the following week in Cleveland, Ohio for Dynamite and Rampage. And then the week after that, first week of February, they'll be back in Chicago for Dynamite and Rampage. Man, they go to Chicago a lot.
It's a good crowd. I don't blame them.
I know.
They actually have people there.
I know. You could have people in an arena, too. But aren't you a little bit jealous? Like, man, they've been to Chicago, like, millions of times. I feel like the AEW audience is probably tired of, in Chicago are like, all right, AEW, like, we get it. You're here all the time. They've never been to Canada. They've never been outside the U.S. Obviously, COVID, and it's impossible. They can't, but
right.
Just as a Canadian wrestling fan, who knows? Like, man, if there was no pandemic, they would have been to Montreal for a Dynamite or a Rampage taping at some point. And then they just keep going to Chicago. Like, once a month they're in Chicago, and I'm like, damn. How come I don't live in Chicago? I get to see AEW. You know, like, it's just annoying when I see wrestling in cities with packed arenas or semi-packed arenas as it was tonight. And we still have nothing here. It's just like, come on. Come on. But Chicago is spoiled with AEW. Like, they are there once a month. It's crazy. At some point, like, don't you want to stop going? But I guess they do well. They do better in Chicago than they do in Raleigh, North Carolina. Ouch.
It was bad tonight.
Bad. I mean, you could tell.
Yep.
I saw the tickets. I mean, I didn't check the tickets until I saw the arena on TV. And I was like,
right.
They can't hide that. Like, what the hell is going on? So they were at the PNC Arena. I did a little research here for you, John, okay? So we know.
Mm-hmm.
They were at the PNC Arena in Raleigh, North Carolina, which has a capacity of 19,722. Okay?
Yeek.
Right? 19,000 capacity. According to Wrestle Tickets on Twitter, at Wrestle Tickets, which has a great Twitter feed. I recommend you checking it out. They always have updated ticket information and how many tickets are sold for all the wrestling shows, which is very useful to know, you know,
right.
Who's actually putting butts in seats. It's not AEW. 4,700 tickets distributed in a 19,000 seat arena. 4,700. They barely got 5,000 people in that thing. The average Carolina Hurricanes game, the Carolina Hurricanes are a hockey team that play in that same arena. The average attendance for one of those games, 16,951 this season. And they're 18th in the league. That's not even one of the top. Like, they're not even that good for attendance. The average Carolina Hurricanes hockey game, which, they have a bunch of them, 16,000, just under 17,000 fans. AEW in Raleigh, AEW at the same arena tonight, Dynamite, CM Punk, right? In action, Sting. Couldn't even get 5,000 people in that thing. What happened?
Yeah, I'm sure some people will say, the pandemic, people don't want to go to shows anymore, kind of thing. I mean, there might be a little bit of that.
No,
but,
because
that's still
like I just told you, man, Carolina Hurricanes in that arena this hockey season are averaging 16,951. So 17,000 people want to go to hockey games in that city, yesterday or whatever. But nobody wants to go to Dynamite. Like, you can't blame the pandemic for this one because it's the same city, it's the same people, it's the same arena. Hockey gets 17,000, Dynamite got 4,700. That's a problem.
Right. Like, I was going to say, like, some people will say it, but I mean, I don't think it's a fair excuse because, like you just said, like, I'm sure other places are just as good or better. So they got to figure out another reason for that. I think it was just the fact that it's probably the first time they've ever had it there, more than likely. And I don't think people are used to AEW there as much. It's not established as much there. I think it was way too big of a jump to go to 19,000, where they're usually averaging 5,000 a show.
Yeah. I mean, maybe the arena was too big, but it was quite obvious on TV, right? For anybody watching, it seemed empty. Any crowd shot just looked weird. I did check out the Carolina Hurricanes. They are first in something called the Metropolitan League or Conference or Division. I don't know. Metropolitan. 24-7 this season. That's a pretty good record for a hockey team. They're one of the best teams.
Very good record.
They're like maybe the best team in all of hockey right now. Them and the Florida Panthers, who are also 24-7. I'm looking at the standings right now in NHL, John. Panthers 24-7, Hurricanes 24-7. They have the two best records in all of hockey right now. Just so you know, those Carolina Hurricanes, no wonder why they're packing the arena. They're the best team in all of pro hockey. Not like your Canadians, right? They lost again tonight, John, or are losing or something. I saw guys in the chat talking about it. Oh, they lost 5-1 to Boston. Sorry, John.
Boston's a great team. No shame in losing to Boston.
All right.
Great city, too.
Yes, indeed. I love Boston. Nice place. I don't like the Red Sox, but I do like Boston. Dante Martin wrestled Willie Hobbs. Big Willie. Yeah, it was all right. It was a decent match. Martin and Hobbs, they're good wrestlers. They hit some good moves. At one point, though, Hobbs tossed Dante into the corner, and Dante, went over the top rope, but he just hit the corner and then jumped. He flung himself over the top rope. And I know they're always flinging themselves over the top rope, but this was obviously you just jumped. Sometimes some of this flippy stuff, it just looks overly fake. And at that point, it looked overly fake to me. I like Dante Martin. I like Will Hobbs. I thought they had a solid match. But it's clear that they're two guys that haven't wrestled for a very long time, and there were some awkward moments in that one.
There was, but I thought the beginning was really good with the jump start. I liked that cross body block they did to the outside. That looked really good.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a cross body block to the outside look that good ever. So, kudos to them for that. I feel Hobbs, he's got good presence, man.
Yeah.
He's just developing it, but you could tell, he's got a good, swagger around that ring, the way he walks around and, the way he's just kind of bullying his opponents all the time. There's something there. I think he's going to definitely be a top star. It's going to take a bit of time, but he's going to get there, I think.
Yeah. But there's things that are missing, right? Yeah, okay, he's got something.
Yeah.
He's got presence, he's got size, but there's parts in his wrestling that's a little shaky, and the promo, I don't even know if he has a promo. I've never heard him speak. I don't know what he sounds like.
There's probably holes, sure, but I feel like, he's got the people there that can help him, flush out those mistakes, I think.
Yeah, I think Will Hobbs is going to be good. I think Dante Martin's going to be good. This was not my favorite match on the show, though. This was, it was fine, but I don't know. What did you like better? I mean, obviously we like the CM Punk match the best, but what did you prefer, this match or the Sammy Guevara-Daniel Garcia match? I think both matches very similar. Two guys,
Right.
young guys, being given a spot to kind of wrestle each other and show what they can do. And both matches I thought were kind of sloppy. Like, I thought the same about both matches. Daniel Garcia, Sammy Guevara, Will Hobbs, Dante Martin, all young, talented wrestlers with something. But they're green. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They're inexperienced, and it shows in the, flow or lack of flow in their matches. It's clunky. It's awkward. I mean, Sammy, did you see how he hit his finish tonight? That GTH thing? I mean, it was... Garcia fell before Sammy even hit the knee on his face. It was terrible.
Right. Yeah.
It's not
Sloppy.
good. And that's his
know.
finisher. That's his finisher. That's the last thing you see to end the match. What did you
Yeah, I know.
prefer?
He hits flashier stuff.
What was a better match? Or I guess what was a worse match?
Well, I think the main event was better than this because the main event, like I know you say the flow wasn't good for both matches. I feel the flow was better for the main event because at least that was a style that meshed together, where the other match was a styles clash, which was still fine. That was a clash, but because this meshed together, like there was a better flow to it. It just some things came off a little rough, but at least there was a better flow to it.
By the way, in that Dante Martin-Will Hobbs match, Dante Martin gets the win after a nosedive. It's a springboard moonsault. Ricky Starks tried to interfere on Will Hobbs' behalf, but Jay Lethal came out to help Dante Martin. So I guess Leo Rush isn't with Dante Martin anymore. Now they got Jay Lethal with him. And I'm like, where's Jay Lethal
I don't
been?
know if it's for that, though. I don't feel it's to help Dante Martin. I think it was just he's got issues with Team Taz and more so Ricky Starks. I think it wasn't so much to help Dante Martin, I don't think.
Why does he have an issue with Ricky Starks?
When you have a championship, you should always have an issue, I think.
That's not
He's
a
always
real
got beef with you.
championship. The FTW title?
Defended on Battle of the Belts.
Right? They did, right?
Yeah.
You said they should, too.
And they did. Well, they listen to me sometimes. It's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah. When they did that, I was like, oh, Johnny was right. That Battle of the Belts thing went a little wonky. Cody got COVID, and then they made an interim TNT championship between Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara, and Sammy won. And again, Sammy defending that title in the main event tonight against Daniel Garcia. He just won an interim championship that he's for sure going to unify with Cody Rhodes. There was no chance Sammy was losing this match tonight. And he didn't. He beat Daniel Garcia with his GTH to retain that interim title. 2.0 showed up during the match to attack Chris Jericho. This was all part of a bigger thing with Jericho and Eddie Kingston. That was a promo tonight, right? Jericho backstage with Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager. Jericho talked about the Inner Circle being named the PWI Faction of the Year. Talked about Sammy Guevara's match later. Eddie Kingston showed up, told Jericho to mind his business because he wants Daniel Garcia. And Eddie says he doesn't care about Sammy Guevara. And Jericho's the reason that Santana and Ortiz aren't the tag team champions. And Jericho says, hey, this is the big leagues, and these guys are my family here, and I don't care what happened between you guys years ago because this is more important. And Santana and Ortiz and Hager seem disgusted with Jericho and Kingston, and they walk away. And Jericho says if 2.0 get involved tonight, he'll kick their ass. But if Eddie Kingston gets involved tonight, he might kick his ass too. And then Jericho tells Kingston, GFY. And Kingston says, GFY? Super chat. And I also said, GFY? GFY.
Well, you know what that is, though.
Yeah, I know what GFY is, but it's like, really? You say GFY to somebody? It's pretty lame. I know you're on TV and you can't say go fuck yourself, but like, come on. GFY? If you can't say it, don't use an abbreviation. Pathetic.
I don't disagree with you, but for some reason he thought it was a good idea. I don't know why, but I guess it's that the thing too. They swear so much. I guess if he did that, that was going too far. I guess so. That was their way of like finding middle ground. Is like, oh, I won't say it, but I'll just say GFY, and that'll be good enough.
So lame. I like Kingston drawing attention to how lame that was. GFY. Fuck out of here with that. Kingston called Daniel Garcia a motherfucker on the show tonight. Did you hear that? During the match?
I missed that.
Oh, yeah.
I missed it.
Garcia looks at him, and Kingston's like, I'll kick your ass, you motherfucker. You little pussy. He was like, fucking just going off on him. Off mic, because he's ringside for the match. Off mic, but still, you could hear him. It's on mic. If I heard him, it was on some mic. You motherfucker. It's like, all right, Eddie Kingston. Jericho saying GFY. Eddie Kingston's like, motherfucker people on TV. Oh, that's good. It's good. Doug Hepburn dropping a super chat. He says, Dave, got to say, great Raw recap show. Sorry I missed it live. You were spot on. Very good stuff. Thank you, Doug. Yes, indeed. I was solo for the Raw recap show Monday night. Doug is the super chat leader. Thank you, Doug. Then we get the main event. 2.0 show up. They attack Jericho during the match. Jericho was ringside. Eddie Kingston was ringside for the Guevara-Garcia match. Garcia bumping into Big Magic on the apron, then falls into Sammy's GTH for the loss. Sammy wins. 2.0 attacks Sammy after the match. Jericho makes the save with the baseball bat. Eddie Kingston grabbed Big Magic, but Jericho hit him with the baseball bat and tossed him out of the ring, which upset Eddie Kingston because he wanted to beat up Big Magic. But Jericho said, what's your problem? Can we just do the match already?
Well, I'd rather a better story right now. Now it's just them like, posing pretty much. Like, let's actually have a bit of conflict here. Let's actually have something more than just saying like, oh, you're the reason why Santana and Ortiz aren't tag champs. Like, can you elaborate a bit more on this? Like, what's so bad about Jericho?
Because he's only in it for himself. He's selfish. Takes the attention just for him. I think.
We need that promo.
Yeah, he hasn't really said that, right? It's just been kind of alluded to. But yeah, it's not great. It's not been great. It's not been great, the Jericho-Eddie Kingston thing. And for that to be the main event, like...
Because it's a title match. That's why it was the main event, I think.
It's flat. It was really flat. CM Punk should be the main event. It's an interim TNT title match between Sammy Guevara and whatever his name is, Daniel Garcia. Don't tell me that the title match has to be the main event. Last week, Hangman and Bryan opened the show for the AEW World title. So don't tell me the interim TNT title is so important that it has to main event. Because the world title is not so important that it has to main event. So no title is so important that it has to main event. So this goddamn match should not have main event. It should have been CM Punk. Because that was the best thing on this show. By far.
Well, I don't disagree with you, but the claim for the world title is that because it went the whole hour, you think it would go the whole hour again, so that's why it goes on first. So I think that's why that was made.
Yeah. I guess. Still, not the first time they've done their biggest match at the beginning of the show, and then the rest of the show just kind of stumbles along. Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida. Deeb attacks Shida from behind during her entrance, focusing on the knee. Shida sold the knee during the match and then lost when the referee stopped the match. Serena putting Shida in her Serenity Lock submission, and the referee stops it. Shida was screaming in pain. Shida's knee hurt. Deeb smashed Shida in the knee with the kendo stick after the match. More referees had to come out and stop her. I guess Ref Aubrey is the only referee that can physically restrain Serena Deeb. So she did so, and then that was it. Anna Jay, Ty Conti, and some other person, I guess she's a wrestler too, I don't know. They came out to help Shida to the back. No medical people, but Anna Jay and Ty Conti and some other jabroni.
I think it was Sky Blue.
Who cares? Was that Sky Blue?
Well,
Okay.
if you watch Dark, yeah.
I don't. She'll be wrestling. Serena Deeb will be wrestling Sky Blue on Dynamite next week. So that's...
Well, there you go. There's some sort of tie-in.
Yes, we'll know who she is a little bit more next week when Serena beats her. This was not the match I was expecting. This was,
it wasn't really much of a match.
No, it's just, pushing Serena as an evil heel, which is fine. Right? It was fine. I don't have any big complaints about this segment. It was what it was.
Well, you just got to wonder, though. I mean, you push another heel when you need faces right now, when you have two heel champions right now in the women's division. So it's interesting that you're doing this when you should be pushing like some top faces right now.
Yep.
Where you have the faces kind of arguing with each other in the later segments. So it's weird.
Yeah. There are no legit baby faces to go up against them right now. Just heels. Just strong heels. I don't know. Yeah, Chris Statlander, Red Velvet, and Leela Hirsch were interviewed backstage by Tony Schiavone. Schiavone says they have a trios match this Friday on Rampage, and Statlander has a mixed tag match next week, teaming with Orange against Adam Cole and Britt Baker. And then Statlander starts talking about that match, and then Leela Hirsch is upset, says Statlander's not thinking about their match together, and she's being selfish. And Red Velvet wants them to all be friends because, hey, we have a really big match on Rampage this Friday because, as we all know, the women's trios division is so important in AEW. Who cares? There's no belts. There's no anything. I don't know, whatever. It'll be Statlander, Red Velvet, and Leela Hirsch, who's like turning heel and beefing with Statlander. They'll be teaming up to take on Nyla Rose, the Bunny, and Penelope Ford on a very, very missable match for Rampage this Friday. Like, ugh. Is this Dark or Rampage? Like, it's garbage.
Well, it's funny that they actually have had a couple of tag matches already on Dark. This is the build-up to Rampage, pretty much, for this match.
And I'm supposed to know who, like, Leela Hirsch is and why she's mad at Statlander and she's got a character change and I'm supposed to care about that. But I don't at all.
She's really good, though. Like, to me, like, she's probably
right.
the most underrated women's wrestler right now in AEW. She should be more of a top star, I think. She's really good at wrestling.
She is. She's a good wrestler. She's got a good shoot style. I like her. Legit Leela Hirsch, but I don't know. They haven't done enough with her to make me care. I guess they're trying now. But this thing with Chris Statlander and Red Velvet saying, hey, we need to get together and win this match against the Bunny and friends. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff on this show I just couldn't care less about. Christian, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus cut a backstage promo about the Jurassic Express and how they won the tag team titles. Christian wishes Rey Fenix well after his injury last week. Apparently it was a sprained elbow after going through that table. Jungle Boy says any of the top 5 tag teams can get a shot at the tag team belts. Enter Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds, and they want a match on Rampage. Jungle Boy didn't really think that they were top 5, but Alex Reynolds says top 5 handsome, top 5 meat. Come on. Top 5. And for my money, Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds are the number 1 tag team in AEW. So, take that. All right? I wish that they would beat Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus for the tag team titles on Rampage. I know that they won't, but I wish that they would because they're much more entertaining than Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. And pretty much anybody else in the tag team division. The lack of a major push on TV for Johnny Hungy is one of the biggest failures of the last year for AEW.
I mean, he wasn't even on pay-per-view in the first little bit. Now he almost is on pay-per-view almost all the time now, in some capacity.
Not enough.
You just want too much, I think. Like you're getting, Bryan Danielson. You're getting those matches.
Yeah.
You finally got Hangman as world champion.
Yeah.
You got to understand, there's just guys higher up in the card here.
Sure, but, Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds could be tag team champions. They could easily be tag team champions.
I mean, it's tough. The tag division is really stacked. It's tough to be tag champ, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. But, Johnny Hungy got that match with Bryan Danielson, and that's what I like to see. Like, okay, he doesn't have to beat the Bryan Danielsons, but he could wrestle him on TV and have a good showing. And I think
Right.
Johnny Hungy having more matches on Dynamite and Rampage is what we should be heading towards. More Hungy on TV. And they're going to wrestle the tag team champs. And, they're getting it on Rampage this Friday, so that's a step in the right direction. But honestly, I should be seeing Johnny Hungy on either Dynamite or Rampage every week. Like, okay, don't book him on, say he doesn't have to be on Dynamite every week. But if he's not on Dynamite, he should be on Rampage in some capacity. There shouldn't be a week of TV that goes by without this guy. Because he's one of the funniest, most over guys in the company. If you don't believe me, listen to the crowd. The AEW faithful, they love him. The people that watch Being the Elite, they love Johnny Hungy. It's the Johnny Hungy show. It's the only reason why people tune in is for Johnny Hungy. Fantastic.
I know they're using him. I mean,
yeah, you're not part of the Hungy fan club here, John. You're not as big into Johnny Hungy as I am. You don't watch Being the Elite, but I think he's fantastic.
Well, after that Super Elite stuff, like, I didn't mind the first promo. That second promo, that seemed kind of goofy. I'm like, I'm glad I don't watch BT. It's way too goofy. If that they put that goofiness on Dynamite, I can only imagine the goofiness they do on YouTube.
The Bucks stuff is some of the least interesting stuff that they do on BTE. I mean, some lately, anyways. It's all about Johnny Hungy. Ever since Johnny Hungy came on the scene, it's been all about the Dark Order on BTE. It's really their show. Forget about the Bucks. The Bucks, yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't a big fan of that promo either. I'm not a big fan of the Bucks than the Undisputed Era feud. I don't care. What they're doing right now with Adam Cole and stuff, it's not like I thought the opening promo was good and but it's not my favorite stuff going on in AEW, right? I think there's other stuff that's got my attention a little bit more. Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. As soon as those guys showed up, it's like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I still like the Bucks, but, like, you see what Punk is doing? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened in AEW. As soon as Bryan and Punk showed up, it's like, oh, well, everything here is good, and I like it, but, like, those guys, I really like those guys, It's like, it's a different thing. It's a different thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're just more over. There's no question about it.
Yeah. Way more over than anybody. It's like, oh, the Bucks, yeah, they might be the best tag team in the world today. Oh, Kenny, you might be the best wrestler in the world today. Yeah, awesome. But then Bryan Danielson shows up, and I'm like, damn, he might be the best wrestler of all time. And then CM Punk, it's like, wow, he's one of the best wrestlers of all time. Like, those guys they're not just the best today. They're like one of the best ever. Or two of the best ever. So it's a different deal when those guys show up. Changes the whole landscape of the company. And it makes other guys just kind of seem like less important. I feel like the Bucks are less important ever since Bryan and Punk showed up. It's like, oh, yeah. Because before they were like, the bigger stars in the company. But now when they show up, it's kind of like, yeah, I mean, they're still big stars, but they're kind of mid-level stars at this point. It's weird.
Well, I feel like ever since Punk showed up, it's like he's the star of the show now. To me, that's how it feels like.
Yeah. Levels, right? Matt Hardy with his friends there, the private party, talks about being in Raleigh, his hometown, and his family's there, his wife and his kids were there. And he says he's going to send Pentagon to the hospital to join his brother. But I think maybe Pentagon sent Matt Hardy to the hospital. Pentagon beats Matt Hardy with a nasty package piledriver. Good God. Were you worried for Matt Hardy when he got dropped on his head there? That was roughski.
I think he was okay. I think he just looked kind of rough because his hair is long, so it looks rougher when you have longer hair, but I think he was okay.
All right. I don't know. Looked like Penta just kind of dropped him right on his head. I don't know. Penta, that's a nice pile driver. It looked good. Malachi Black showed up after the match and attacks Alex Abrahantes and Pentagon. Malachi goes to pull off Pentagon's mask, but Brian Pillman Jr. and Griff Garrison hit the ring, and they beat down Pentagon Malachi with Pentagon, right? It's a 3-on-1 beatdown. And then Julia Hart, who's got an eye patch because she was blinded by Malachi Black, she tells them to stop attacking Malachi Black for some reason. Why?
Yeah, I don't know what the heck was going on there. It didn't make any sense.
Damn, man, I thought you were going to have an explanation for me.
Why? I wish I could tell you a reason. Like, I didn't understand what was going on. Like, is something supposed to happen here? I mean, yeah, the lights go off and all that, but I'm like, that didn't go together with what just happened there.
I don't know.
Maybe there was some sort of mist in or something.
Stop attacking him. It's like, wait a second. Is this like an Alexa Bliss thing where, like, you got sprayed by the mist and now you're under his power? Like, what is happening? I didn't understand that.
I was wondering, was she on the apron or something? Because I thought maybe she was actually going to get in, like, stop, I want to hit him kind of thing. I thought that was going to happen.
But she didn't come in the ring. She was on the apron. She's like, stop. And then I'm like, okay, she wants to come in and slap him. But she didn't. Right. She just stayed on the apron. And then they all kind of looked at him. And then the lights go out. And then Brody King shows up, who's a Ring of Honor guy. And now he's in AEW. And he kind of looks like a Malachi Black type guy. He's full of tattoos. And he helps Malachi take out Penta and Griff Garrison and Brian Pillman Jr.
Yeah, great for the heels to do that.
Why not?
Such horrible people to, come back against the odds and all that. Like,
yeah.
It just seemed kind of off. Like, of course people are going to cheer for this because it kind of set it up to seem like these guys are the underdogs. Even though they're dark, horrible people.
Yeah. I mean, Malachi was getting beat up 3-on-1. And Julia Hart, who's blinded by Malachi, she feels so bad for him. She's like, okay, guys, stop. That's enough. She's like, this poor guy. And then the lights go out, and Brody King shows up, and it's like, well, it's still 2-on-3, but let's fight our hearts out. And then they fight, and they win, and the crowd is cheering for them, but they're supposed to be the heels. But, of course, Brody King showing up, it's a surprise. I don't know how many people know who Brody King is, really. Like, when Brody King showed up, how many people watching at home were like, oh, Brody King? And how many people were like, who? Who's this guy? Is this Malachi's brother? He looks like his brother. Like, slightly larger brother. They should have done that. He should have been Brody Black. And it's like, yeah, it's his brother. He's Dutch, too, okay?
I don't believe he is, but...
no, but they could have said it. You could fake a Dutch accent.
I just feel commentary could have done a better job with that, where they're just like, oh, it's Brody King, and it's like, yeah, it's like, who? Like, I mean, yeah, I know who he is, but I only know, like, yeah, he's been in ROH, like they said, he's been ROH Tag Champion. And that's all pretty much they said about him. I'm pretty sure he also wrestled in Japan.
Yeah, I
think he was a former NWA Tag Champion as well. I mean, there's a bunch of things you could say about what he's done in wrestling and all this, but you might want to put more of what the connection is with Malachi Black. I believe they have actually teamed together in other places, or there's been some sort of alliance in other places, so they could have mentioned stuff like that, but they didn't. I just think there could have been a better job of explaining like who this character was, or like what this could possibly do for Malachi Black. I feel like they didn't do enough.
Last time I was paying attention to Brody King, he was in a stable with Marty Scurll and PCO.
Villain Enterprise, yeah.
There you go. That was a cool thing for a bit. But then it turned out Marty Scurll was a scumbag, and he got blackballed from wrestling forever. Right?
Well, I think Brody then, he had a decent singles career for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Marty Scurll's like done, right? No more Marty Scurll? Like, he's been blackballed. Like Joey Ryan? It's over for him?
I guess. I haven't really been keeping up to date with that, but
yeah,
I'm not sure. I mean, there's so many indies in the U.S. I don't keep up to date with everything.
I don't think they wrestle anymore. I don't think they can. The Acclaimed beat the Bear Country. Again, great promo, great rap promo from Max Caster. He's fantastic. I love the Acclaimed. I think they're great. Anthony Bowens, Max Caster are tremendous wrestlers. And the promo from Caster to open up before the match is always a highlight of the show. They beat the Bear Boys. And then Sting and Darby Allin show up and attack the Acclaimed. Sting hits a Scorpion Death Drop on Caster, setting up for next week the Stinger and the Darbster taking on the Acclaimed on Dynamite. Stang! Wrestling on TV again. Damn, man. He's wrestling a lot more than I thought he would.
Yeah, and actual matches too, not cinematic matches.
Yeah.
Which I think is really great. I mean, this is kind of like a nice little last run for Sting. It'd be nice if they could win the tag team titles if it ever reaches that point. It feels like it's going to at one point. They're going to go for the tag titles.
Wow. That would be nuts. I can see it happening. Darby's the perfect opponent for Sting. Like, Darby can take all the bumps and Sting can just, hit the death drop and the splash and all the, plays the hits. Darby takes the pain and bada bing, bada goom. Boom, you got yourself a tag team. Right? It's pretty good.
I thought you were going like FBI right there the way you were saying that, but yeah.
Bada bing, much. Bada boom. Realest guys in the room. What was that? Enzo Amore?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's anti-vax like Hulk Hogan. Right?
I believe Hogan is just like believes in weird theories or something.
Brother, Sidney Poitier and Betty White just got their third dose, brother. Just saying, brother.
Bob Saget, too, I think he said, too.
Bob Saget just got his third dose, brother. Pretty mysterious. Johnny North just got his third dose today, brother. Is he going to get Sageted? You're such a Saget, John. You're a real Bob Saget.
I think his complaint is the fact that they were older. I think it's worse on people that are older.
That's right, brother. I'm not getting any vaccines, brother. I'll shoot myself up with steroids, brother, but no corona shots for me, brother. Oh, Terry. I take all my advice from Hulk Hogan and Joe Rogan. And the more alien your skin tone, the more I'm going to take your medical advice. If you're bright red on TV or, deep orange, that's who I want to take my medical advice from. Like, there's no one redder than Joe Rogan on UFC broadcasts, and there's nobody more orange than Hulk Hogan. Although at some point in the 90s, he was just a dark brown. Hulk Hogan would wrestle African-American guys and be far darker than them. Far darker. And you're like, what is going on with Hulk Hogan right now? Right? He was a chocolatey brown at one point. It's like, how did that happen? Such tanning. No one's tan like Hogan.
I feel Triple H.
Triple H. I was going to say Triple H, too.
Yeah. I mean, Triple H is super orange at many points in his career.
Yeah, he was. Oh, Matt Hardy's a strange color. I don't know what it is. Off-white. He has something. He says, something's got to change about my career, and it's not working. Maybe I need to bring in Brother Nero and team up again. He didn't say that, but, Andrade shows up and says, I want to negotiate a deal with you, Matt Hardy. He didn't say it that clearly, and he said it in far more words, and I didn't really understand most of what was going on, but it seemed like he wanted to make some sort of business arrangement with Matt Hardy. What that means, I don't know. But Matt Hardy seemed interested. Did you understand anything Andrade was saying?
It was like you said, some sort of deal, contract, or something that he wanted to sign. I didn't exactly get exactly what he was getting at, but something to work together with on something, so... And Matt didn't want the cameras to see it. He had to do it behind closed doors, so.
I don't know what that means. I think Andrade is going to try and human traffic Matt Hardy. Don't do it, Matt. Pac does a promo package about having lost his sight. So Pac was...
Because he got blinded by Malachi.
Yes. And now he's blind. So Julia Hart, eye patch, blind in one eye. Pac, fully blind. And I guess he's going
to him twice.
Oh, okay. Is he going to come back blind and wrestle blind, or will he regain his sight when he comes back? I guess he's stuck in England is the deal, right? He's stuck in England, and he can't wrestle, so he's doing promo packages, which sucks.
It's too bad. But maybe, he'll get his sight back once restrictions are thrown away for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was the Dynamite show tonight. Coming up next week on Dynamite, Shawn Spears versus CM Punk, Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander versus Adam Cole and Britt Baker, Serena Deeb versus Johnny's favorite, Sky Blue, and Sting and Darby versus The Acclaimed. Cody Rhodes will also return to Dynamite next week. Angelo asking why there's an interim TNT title, and that's because Cody was supposed to defend the title against Sammy Guevara on Battle of the Belts on Saturday, but because Cody had COVID, he could not defend the TNT title, and because they named the show Battle of the Belts, they were kind of in a tough position, so they said, let's do an interim TNT title with Sammy and Dustin and have Sammy win, so then when we have the Cody-Sammy match, it could be for the undisputed TNT title, because it was supposed to be Cody and Sammy, but Cody couldn't be there, so they did that, which, yeah, it's fine. UFC does it a lot, Champion can't be there. Oh, we'll do an interim championship, and then when we finally have the champion versus interim champion match, it'll be even bigger. I didn't really have a problem with it. I thought it made sense. I thought that WWE could have done something similar with Brock Lesnar, but they just didn't have anybody big enough to replace Roman Reigns. But they could have done an interim Universal title match there. I didn't hate the idea of an interim TNT title. What did you think?
Well, hold your horses on having another title in WWE. I think you have too many titles, so that's the best case. What they did right there was put them in the other WWE title match that was on the show. That was the best thing to do, not have another WWE title.
Okay, you might be right.
Thing, but in this case, because it's called Battle of the Belts, you needed a championship match. This was the best thing for them to do. If anything, maybe you just hold off that match, have it later, which they're going to do. But because it was Battle of the Belts, this kind of made up for the fact they didn't have a title match. They had a title match, but it wasn't the actual title match.
That's it. It was Battle of the Belts. They needed a title match, so they did an interim title match because Cody couldn't be there. Cody will be back next week on Dynamite. Coming up on Rampage this Friday, Johnny Hungy and Alex Reynolds take on the Jurassic Express for the AEW Tag Team titles. Adam Cole takes on Trent in one-on-one action. Adam Cole's still undefeated. I expect him to remain undefeated. Chris Statlander, Layla Hirsch, and Red Velvet take on Nyla Rose, The Bunny, and Penelope Ford. And Shawn Spears wrestles Andrew Everett, which, why even advertise? If I know Shawn Spears is going to wrestle a guy called Andrew Everett on TV, I will purposefully not watch that TV show. Who the hell's Andrew Everett?
I feel like I've heard that name before. I don't know if I've been on the same show as him or not, or I just read the results somewhere, but the name rings a bell.
Wasn't FTR supposed to wrestle some guys too? FTR versus Arn Anderson's son and Lee Johnson. They did a promo there too, right? There was was it Dax? He says, I'm the son that Arn wishes he had. Tully Blanchard telling Arn Anderson, drop the dead weight. Arn's like, that's my son. He's like, yeah, well, you heard what I said. It's fucking rough.
Tully's a harsh person, no question about it.
And Dax is like, you're an embarrassment. Arn wishes I was his son, not you. You're terrible. And I'm kind of like, yeah, I see that.
Well, Brock should have started out. Give him time.
No, I'd rather not.
But I felt like that was for next week's Dynamite, no?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think they showed it on a graphic, but I think, that'll be on Dynamite next week too. FTR versus Arn Anderson's son and Shotty Johnson.
It's a match for FTR.
I was kind of wondering where Arn Anderson's son went. Didn't Tony Schiavone have a son who was going to wrestle too?
Yeah, but after that segment, he decided not to be a wrestler anymore.
What?
Yep.
What do you
Apparently
mean?
that segment kind of like scared him off from wrestling.
Because he got beat up, right?
Right. Like he thought wrestling was easy, and then he realized, oh, wrestling's not that easy anymore.
So this is Chris Schiavone. I'm watching this now because I forget what happened because it was so long ago. So they grab him and they throw. QT throws a punch at him. He gets hit with a diamond cutter from QT, and that's it. He got hit with a punch and a diamond cutter, and he quits wrestling after that?
Yep.
He took a punch to the gut and a diamond cutter, and that was it. And now he doesn't want to be a wrestler after that segment? It wasn't something that happened in training. It was the segment.
Well, maybe it was a combination of a lot of things, but
right
after that Dynamite, he decided he didn't want to be a wrestler anymore.
And they put him on TV.
Well, for the segment, I thought it was fine. It helped for the story, did not at the time?
I don't remember. I don't know. Did it?
I felt it helped the whole Big Show QT Marshall thing because I don't think there was really much there to begin with, so they needed something.
Big Show is like not wrestling anymore. Hey, I heard Big Show. It's maybe the body's not really there to do it anymore, and he's just gonna call it a career.
I saw him wrestle in a handicap match not too long ago on Elevation. Yeah.
I don't know. I love Big Show, but it doesn't seem like they're doing much with him. You would have thought at some point they would have done something with him on Dynamite or Rampage or something, right?
I think it's just going to be special occasions kind of thing. Like he'll wrestle the odd handicap match when they feel like it on special shows, but that's it. I don't think he's going to wrestle ever full time in AEW. I don't think.
Mark Henry either, right? Doesn't seem like Mark Henry's ever going to get an AEW ring. I thought he might, but
I mean, it could still happen, but I don't know if he's really interested in that right now. It seems he's more interested in trying to learn how to be a commentator.
Yup, doing those interviews there on Rampage. We will be back watching Rampage with you Friday night after SmackDown, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on the Ringside Report Network. Shout out to Doug Hepburn. You are the Super Chat leader of the night. Doug, we got to keep searching for those Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart action figures. Hit your local Toys R Us. If you are in a province that is not Quebec, hit your local Toys R Us and find me that Hulk Hogan and the Bret Hart Survivor Series action figures because I need them real bad. Send them to me and I'll send you something back really cool. Okay? It'll be so cool. Whatever I send you back, it'll be amazing. You'll love it. I got boxes and boxes of action figures that I could send you in return. We're looking for that Bret Hart Survivor Series and that Hulk Hogan Survivor Series action figure. Doug is my main man in Ontario, helping me out, finding the things. So, Doug, we're looking for that Hulk Hogan and that Bret Hart. Let's go. Let's find those things. Doug's going to check it out. Thank you, Doug. I know that they were showing up in Alberta. I got my eye on these things. They were showing up in Alberta at Toys R Us's last week. Haven't trickled down to Quebec. Sometimes they don't. Hopefully they show up in Ontario and Doug can grab them and send them over to me and we can all have a Merry Christmas. Right?
All right, you guys are stuck on December. I mean, wake up. We're in January now.
Wake up! Angelo Contagonis dropping a super chat. Thank you, Angelo. But still, Doug is your leader for the night. And that's it for me. Is that it from you, John? Are you done?
Super chat.
There it is. Thank you, Angelo.
Oh, there it is.
Yep. I'll be back here tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. No, sorry. 8:30 Eastern Time with Freddie and AJ. We'll be previewing a UFC card. Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze coming up on Saturday night. Oh, it's going to feel good to gamble again. Am I right? I love gambling.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Gambling is so fun, John. Because I win a lot of times. You know, it's great. Ooh, Caitlin Chukagian's fighting against Jennifer Maia. That's a good fight to gamble on. That's fun. That's a co-main event that I'll put money on, baby. Caitlin's only minus 180, the favorite. That's an easy peasy slam dunk. Squeezy, baby. Let's make some money. Caitlin Chukagian's going to win that fight on Saturday, and I'll talk to you about it tomorrow. Ooh, Jake Collier, Chase Sherman. That's something. That's a heavyweight ski. Brandon Royval against Rogerio Bontorin. Royval, master of the guillotine. I like that. And Calvin Kattar, Giga Chikadze in the main event. Like, come on. Come on. What's the odds on that? What's the odds on that? Let me gamble. Let's gamble. Giga. Oh, I can't find odds.
Being called Crystal Ball Dave now. That's interesting.
Huh? Who's calling me that?
Who do you think is calling you that?
AJ?
Of course.
Sounds like an AJ thing. Yeah, I got all the picks. Yeah, tomorrow night I'm going to have big picks for you, AJ. We're going with Giga, obviously. We're going with Chukagian, obviously. Let's go. What's the line on Giga? Giga! Oh, minus 250. Yeah, that seems about right. Going to have to parlay that one to make some money. But Giga's going to win. I'd take Giga's a guarantee over Calvin Kattar, so. We'll talk about that tomorrow night, some UFC talk. I'm looking forward to it. UFC back in action. It's been a while since we've seen the UFC. So I'm kind of fiending for some fights. The last UFC fight was December 18th. That's the last time the UFC had a card. Yeah, man. It's been a long-ass time. Thank God UFC is back this Saturday, because then my Saturdays will be jam-packed and action-packed over the next several weeks. This Saturday, UFC Kattar Chikadze. Next Saturday, UFC 270, Cyril Gane, Francis Ngannou. Let's fucking go. Saturday after that, it's the Royal Rumble. And then the Saturday after that, Sean Strickland and Jack Hermanson fight night, which is going to be sick. Strickland is a bad man. Look out for him in 2022. He could do some damage. So the next few Saturdays are going to be sick. UFC this Saturday, UFC 270 next Saturday, Royal Rumble Saturday after that. Woo! Here we go. All right? All right.
Should be good, I hope.
Doug Hepburn says, Nick wants to know what AJ is short for. Anthony Jr. Anthony Jr. D'Alessio. All right? Good night, everybody. Thank you, Doug. You are the Super Chat leader. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you to all the members. Thank you to everybody watching. Appreciate you. And AJ, I'll talk to you tomorrow night. Johnny, I'll talk to you again Friday night. It's the Ringside Report Network. See you later.